All right, welcome back. So to give us an inkling, at least to give us the rationale behind that book, we've got one of the co-authors, Mr. Femi Adesina, who is a special advisor on media and publicity to the president. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today, Mr. Adesina.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, and then in our Lagos studios, we've got Sowunmi, who is... I beg your pardon, Sowunmi, who is a member of the PDP, to also look at some of those indices and get his response. Thank you for joining us again today.
Good morning, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Adesina, again, we thank you for joining us. Could you give us an inkling into the rationale behind this book? Because I know you may have heard people say, well, much as, yes, you've come up with the book alongside some of the other authors, but in the long run, they like to look at the overall impact on the economy. Would you say, in the context of the book and how the country is moving on, does that book foot into the narrative to say we are successfully ensuring that people are feeling the impact on a positive note of governance today?
Well, you have piled so many things together there. Well, let me start with the first one you mentioned, the rationale for the book. If you are on a 400-kilometer journey, by the time you hit the 200-kilometer milestone, it's significant because you are halfway. This mandate is a 4-year mandate, and by the time we got to the halfway mark in May 2017, we felt it was a significant milestone, and that was why that book was conceived. The book was conceived to document the achievements of the administration in the first 2 years. It is not more so for those who are cynical or skeptical and who say not much has been done. No, that's not it. Rather, we took it from the positive, which is to document. And if in that process, those who have been cynical get informed, get educated, and they change their minds, so be it. So that was the main reason. What motivated us was to document achievements. So that one is there for history, and then two is also there to inform and educate. So that peradventure, those who are cynical and skeptical may then be better informed and have a change of mind. As for the second part of your question, these achievements, have they touched on the lives of the people? Governance is a continuum. Whatever is happening is work in progress. At any given time, you can measure and say this is what has been achieved, but you will not be able to measure conclusively at a time like this. But if you keep your eyes on the ball, if you stay at what you are doing, no doubt, at the end of it all, the achievements will be quite significant.
Okay, part of the reason why I did ask that is because some of the contents of that, especially when you're speaking about the roads, construction of roads, I see that you did say in that book that some of them are 48% completed, some 16%, because quite a number of them work is still in progress. And then look at the nature, the budgeting system that we have in the country, where it's not over until it's over. So was it a good idea to highlight that, well, work is ongoing while you acknowledge that here? Shouldn't you have waited to say until the roads are completed so you can put it in there and say these roads have been completed? I mean, for the ones which you say they are still ongoing. Because, I mean, don't forget, we have a lot of projects that are uncompleted in this country.
But it's also very important because whatever you don't measure, it will be difficult for you to attain what you want to attain. You have to measure along the line. So if we say this is 48% completed, this is 50, this is 60, this is 20, it's also good measurement. It informs what is being done, and then it charges those who are doing it to also keep at the work.
So that, because people are really concerned, especially when the leader of the party at that book presentation, when the leader of the party made mention of the importance of having a robust industrial plan to get Nigeria on the path of real growth. How concerned, or did you take that into consideration in the write-up of this book as one of the areas that the APC has not really fared well?
Well, there was loss of audio along the line there, so if you can come again with the question.
I was just asking that, especially when it has to do with industrialization. The leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did mention to Mr. President that until we have a robust industrialization plan, all of this that the APC is doing will still have people going hungry. Did you take into consideration the importance of having that very element of industrialization as a catalyst to get the economy on the path of growth?
Yes, that's very important. What Asiwaju said was correct, and I believe the party agrees with him, the president agrees with him. Industrialization does not come by a sudden flight. It does not come by waving a magic wand. It comes as a result of the work you do. And the work is 2 years old. That's the purpose of the book, to chronicle what has been done in 2 years and to be able to measure it. Industrialization will mean you fix the roads, you fix power, you fix infrastructure. That's why, for instance, in last year's budget, for the first time in the history of this country, 1.3 trillion was spent on capital projects. So that is the road to getting to where Asiwaju mentioned. You don't get to that level overnight. You don't just take a leap and get there. It is steady, it is sustainable if you work at it.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Sowunmi. Well, we've looked at, he's told us the rationale behind the book. They need to measure. They're not necessarily saying, well, yes, we've breasted the tape. Is there anything wrong with that rationale, having said, look, this is where we are at the moment. You may not be feeling certain impact, but look, we just need to point out where we are.
I pity them.
Why?
You see, when it's like looking at a crystal ball and asking yourself that, how am I doing? And the crystal ball tells you clearly that, no, you are not measuring up. And then you leave your room and begin to concoct all sorts of creative ideas to tell the world that you are doing work in progress. They have been in government for, by their own estimation, half of the tenure. What is important is what have they done with 2 years that can give us an idea of what they will likely do with the remaining 2. He talks about industrialization and tries to give the impression that they have to start all over again and reinvent the wheel. I will not travel too far to 1999. I will just start from probably the Jonathan era. When President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan came in as president, Nigeria was a net importer of cement. By the time he was going to leave, we had become a net exporter of cement. When President Goodluck Jonathan came in, the richest Nigerian was number 5 in the world. By the time he was going to leave, the richest Nigerian was number 1 in Africa. These feats occurred because policies were deliberately put in place to stimulate private sector players within the Nigerian economy to take advantage of the globalization opportunities and grow the economy. The problem they have, the APC, is that they have not completely convinced themselves that it is not the business of government to build businesses or to do industrialization. The simple business of government is to provide the enabling environment, do the bit that, do the laws that are stable, be consistent, have policies that can allow private sector people to take advantage. It is not the business of government to criminalize all Nigerians, make life difficult for private sector in the country, and expect that you're going to grow the economy. And I looked at that book, and all the thematic headings that they had listed out, I can list them one after the other, and I can tell you how woefully they had performed. Okay. They came with agriculture. What have they done there? They were during Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we eliminated completely the racketeering that took place with fertilizer and made sure that fertilizer could get to.
We'll come to that.
So, and what have they done in the meantime?
Okay, speak to us about the roads, for instance.
I'll speak to you about the roads. They've been there for 2 years. Yeah. They've gone out borrowing all over the world to bring in money supposedly to drive infrastructure. And 2 years down the line, they're telling me about culverts that are not completed. They're telling me about 42 kilometers of road. They are telling me, what kind of talk is that? Does it take 3 years to complete even one project? They cannot even point to a single one. Right. And I remind them that just within the era that we're talking, I don't want to go too far, because going too far, we just draft them. In the Jonathan era, for the first time, we made Nigeria know that rail infrastructure, multimodal transportation via railways was still possible. And you know that that was not an easy feat. In power, they came into this government pretending like they knew what they were doing. They've not been able to do anything significant because we are the receivers of that. We hardly have light. In our time,
we have to pick something out of that, because you do know that, of course, the power has greatly improved. We have the highest, not under your administration, not under the PDP. We have about 7,001 megawatts of electricity today.
No man,
you don't consider that as an achievement?
No man should take the benefit of another man's labor. We privatized and unbundled the power architecture of this country. The private sector should be able to now drive it. And some of those gains you see there are the result of policy, not for anything that they have done on themselves. They've not been able to bring in a single new power infrastructure of their own. We did Omotosho, we did Abeokuta, we did so many others in the course of the Jonathan action. For if I were to go too far back, we would draft them.
Okay, let me pick you up on some of the things you said about the roads. What you said, they've not done anything, but we see that
they've not completed any.
Yeah, but in that publication, they say kilometers of road constructed. This suggests it's completed.
No, no. Don't you get? What they've done is that they've modeled up all the...
Well, look what about this? They say
listen.
366
What they've done there is that they've modeled up 2 kilometers on Lagos Ibadan, not the complete one, 1 kilometer in Abuja, 3 kilometers, and join them all together. As though, of course, being the hypocrites that their government is, they have now come to say that they have done up to this. But tell them to tell you precisely which of those roads from point A to point B is completed.